If you had $2,000 to invest every year for the next 20 years, would you put it in the market every single month no matter what? Or keep it in cash waiting to swoop in and buy the dip? Buying the dip sounds smart, it sounds aggressive, it sounds like something rich people do. But today I'll show you what actually won over 20 years using a famous Charles Schwab study with 5 types of investors: the dollar cost averager, the dip buyer, the perfect timer, the worst timer, and the person who just never gets started. By the end, you'll see the real loser isn't the bad investor. It's the one who never invests at all. Let's define both strategies quickly. Dollar cost averaging, DCA. DCA means you invest a fixed dollar amount on a fixed schedule, no matter if the market is up, down, or flat. Example, $200 every month into the same ETF or index fund for 20 years straight. Sometimes you buy high, sometimes low, but you end up paying an average price. DCA removes emotion, builds a habit, and often leads to a lower average cost per share over time. Buying the dip, BTD. Buying the dip means you sit in cash, you only invest after a 10 to 20% drop. You hope to get bargain prices and higher returns. In theory, it sounds perfect. Why buy at the top when I can wait and buy at the bottom? The problems? You don't know where the bottom is. While you wait, your cash is doing nothing. Meet Alex, the boring investor. Alex decides, I'm not here to be a genius. I'll just invest $200 every month into a broad index fund. January, $200. February, $200. March, $200. Bull market, bear market, doesn't matter. Alex never skips a month. Alex doesn't try to outsmart the market. Alex just shows up. Now meet Jordan, the dip hunter. Jordan laughs at Alex. Why would you buy at all-time highs? I'll wait for the big crash. Jordan also saves $200 a month but keeps it in cash waiting for at least a 10% drop. No, maybe 15%. Actually, I'll wait for 20% just to be safe. The market drops 10%. Jordan waits. Then it drops 15%. Same story. Then it bounces, hits new highs, and Jordan is still in cash. Meanwhile, Alex has been buying the small dips, buying the recoveries, and most importantly, is in the game. Jordan is still on the sidelines. Now let's look at real data, not just our story. Charles Schwab studied 5 hypothetical investors, each putting $2,000 per year into the S&P 500 over 20 years. Peter Perfect invests his $2,000 at the lowest point each year. Ashley Action invests the full $2,000 immediately at the start of each year. Matthew Monthly uses DCA, splitting $2,000 into 12 monthly investments. Rosie Rotten has the worst timing, always buying at the highest point each year. Larry Linger keeps waiting, delays investing, and leaves money in cash. Same 20 years. Same $2,000 per year. Totally different behaviors. So who actually wins? After 20 years, roughly. Peter Perfect ends up around $186,000. Ashley Action around $170,000. Matthew Monthly, DCA, around $166,000. Rosie Rotten, worst timing, still around $151,000. Larry Linger, the procrastinator, only about $47,000. The worst timer, always buying at the top, still has more than 3 times what Larry has. Why? Because Rosie was at least invested. Larry wasn't. He kept waiting for the perfect dip, the perfect moment, the perfect feeling. And while he waited, the market moved on without him. The study shows perfect timing is best on paper, but unrealistic. The difference between lump sum, DCA, and bad timing is actually small. The huge difference is between investing and not investing. Being early and imperfect beats being late and smart. Let's come back to Larry. Larry wasn't stupid. He was careful, afraid to make a mistake. But in trying to avoid one big mistake, he made the worst one. He never let his money actually work. You'll never catch the exact bottom, have perfect timing. Avoid buying before a drop, and that's fine. Over 20 plus years, the real gap isn't between perfect and average timing. It's between being invested and not invested. This is education, not personal advice. But here's a simple idea you can consider. DCA Core Plan. Pick a broad, low-cost ETF or index fund, invest a fixed amount every month, $50, $100, $500. Automate it for years, not months. Optional small dip fund. Keep maybe 10 to 20% of new contributions as cash. Use it only for big, obvious drops, but your DCA never stops. That way you still get to buy the dip sometimes, without turning into Larry and sitting in cash for 20 years. If you want a breakdown of how DCA could look at $100, $500, or $1,000 per month over 20 to 30 years, drop a comment, DCA Plan. And send this to that one friend who keeps saying, "I'll start investing when the market crashes." Because now you know, it's not the crash that makes you rich. It's the time in the market and the fact that you started at all.